braces that'll go from here to here. So it'll be out 2¼ inches from our outside plate, and we'll go from here to here, and then the same on the other side. Let's get a measuring tape and measure this, see how big it is. Okay, 17 inches. 17. Okay, so we're looking at 17 and an 8. So we'll cut them now. Okay, so we got our two 17 and an 8. That's going to be the starting of our stove box in the cart. So we'll install these in. Okay, now we got our braces in. You can really see where our stove box is coming. Now, if I had the correct measurements of the stove, I could start by putting one across here. And that would give us we could lay plywood here as a floor for the stove to set on, plus the plywood in the back, and then that'll be all tinned in because we're dealing with quite a bit of heat. And enclosed heat, see, that's the problem, is what we're going to do on the side here in this area, we're going to put a vent. So what'll happen is we got some place for the heat to escape, because we don't want to just have it in there. The cart will last maybe 20 minutes and she'll be on fire and we'll be cooking hot dogs faster than we want to. But anyway, that's the start we have on the cart today. Now, again, we're going to be painting all of this. Let's just go through it. There's the bread box. I think we'll have to put a couple of nailers in for the bread box. So the bread box, underneath the bread box, right at the front of the cart, that's where the gray water and fresh water is going to go. The water pump's going to go in there, all your plumbing. On the outside of the cart, this is what we'll be doing down the road, maybe in a couple of days, maybe a week. We're going to place the sinks on the front of the cart. So all this area here, that's the body of the cart, is not going to be taken up by any sinks, because they take quite a bit of room up, and we need all the room we can get here. So anyway, the sinks will be on the front. They'll be plumbed through. The hot water heater will set on the front of the bread box. Next show, what we're going to do is we're going to maybe put some more bracing in. We'll figure out where we need it. We have no plans for this cart at all. The only plans I have is going on the internet and looking at the carts and seeing the basic design of them, the basic shape, you know, like the bread box, where the where the stove goes, where the steam table is, where we're putting the cooler, just stuff like that. That's what I'm going by. I'm just going by just seeing that, and the rest is putting it together by herself here. So anyway, that's where we're at. We'll be next time we'll be cleaning it up. Like I say, maybe putting some more bracing in. I don't think so. I think we got all the bracing we need, except the back here where we're going to put the box or the stove. And then we're going to paint the cart. We're going to paint all inside, all the... Okay, what we're doing now is we're building the piece to put the steam table in. This is our pan. This is the stove will be directly underneath this. This is filled with water, then our other pans go in it. So the pans with your food in it is not directly on the heat, it's being boiled from the water in here. Anyway, so what we did is we installed a cross piece here for the pan. So what we're going to do now is we have to take and measure the distance from here to here, as we did here. It's 12.5 inches. We have a piece here that we'll cut down and insert in there, and then the pan, that'll be the area for the pan. Then when we sheet in the top here, we'll cut it out of the plywood, and then we're going to put stainless steel on top of this. So then the insert pan will fit in the cavity. So what we're going to do is measure this piece, and we'll cut a piece at 1 1/4 inches. So when you install this piece here, if you're building yourself a cart, you want your pan to be able to float in here both ways, from the back to the front and side to side. These supports that we're putting in here now is not going to hold the pan. What's going to hold the pan is the sheeting on top here. We'll put 3/8 good one side plywood on the top, sheet the top in. Then it's going to be stainless steel on top of that. So you want to make sure your pan's going to be able to float in here a bit, just so then it's not so snug if you ever have to make a change. Maybe you want, that you just want it to be able to float just a bit, so you can, down the road, you might need that little bit of space. Anyway, we're going to screw nail this in here. We want to measure here, make sure the distance from the outside of our cart to the inside of this brace is the same. 8 1/4 inches, so we know that we're the same distance. So there we go. Now we know that's where our pan's going to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the stove. We're going to see if we can figure out how the distance for the stove box. Okay, so here's the stove we're using. 2-burner propane stove. It's a quite a big stove actually for this cart, but it's got the. We'll set that right on top here, like it's not going to set right on the burners because it has this rise piece here. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this under. Figure out where we are. Okay, to make the fire, or the stove box we'll call it, inside the cart, we're going to have to put a couple of supports in, because we need to build like a shelf for the stove to set on. So we'll have to start here. We'll install this support here. Then we're going to have to install one on the other side, so we'll measure it up, cut the support, and go. Okay, now what we're going to have to do is a measuring tape. We're going to measure from the outside of the cart, the outside of this support here, to the inside of this one. Let's see what we have. And we have 17 1/4 on this side. So 17 1/4. We're going to need two pieces at 17 1/4, so we'll cut them out now. Okay, so we cut our two pieces 17 1/4. Now where these are gonna go is, it's gonna go on the outside of here, so we're gonna screw nail this way, and then it'll butt up against this support here, we'll screw in. This will be the start of our floor for the stove. So now we have to measure, and I believe it was 5.5 inches. We'll just make sure, measure that again. So what we'll do, put the stove here like this. And we'll put this on top. What we're going to do, what we want to find out is the distance from the top of these grates that's on top of the burners to the bottom of the feet of the stove. So where we're going to measure, we're just going to put the stove back a little bit, like there. We're going to measure from the bottom of this box, because this is a straight edge that we have on the grates on the burners. Pull it out a bit. And we're going to measure to the top of this support here. So from here to here. And that'll give us our measurement of the stove. And it's 5 inches. So what we're going to do, we're going to allow a little bit. So we're going to go about 5.5 inches. So now we'll move this. Move the stove. Now where we want to measure now is from the bottom of this pan. This is going to be tricky. Okay, just to recap here what we're doing. We're installing the steam table. We got the steam table installed. Now we want to build the shelf that's the stove is going to set on underneath the steam table. So what we did is we measured the stove from the bottom of the feet of the stove to the top of the grate that's over top of the burners that's going to be underneath the steam table. It's 5.5 inches. So what we have here is 23 1/4. So if we take 5.5 off of 23 1/4, the distance from the bottom of the burner to the bottom of the deck is 23 1/4. So now we need to come down to build a shelf across here at 5.5 below the pan. So what we did is 23 1/4. We measured that. Take 5.5 off, leaves you 17 3/4. So that's where we've got to build our shelf. Just tilt the camera down. Is here. We got to put these supports in here at 17 3/4. Then we'll be able to build a support across or a shelf across that will support the stove. So now when you put in your support here, we want the top of the support 17 3/4 from the bottom, not the bottom of the support. So don't put it in, so this is on the top of your line, put it in so this, the top of the support is on your line. Another thing is we have to allow for the sheeting. So we're going to use 3/8. So what we have to do is we have to drop this down 3/8 of an inch to accommodate for the sheeting that we're putting on. So there, now we want our sheet, our support here. So you notice I put the screw in backwards first. That's just so I put it through and I can see the hole back here where I want to put the screw in to screw the piece on. Now what we're going to do is measure this way. Measure from the bottom of the floor of the cart is 15 and a half. We want 15 and a half here, and then this will be square.